Welcome back to another Eden's Refuge rapid fire design. Today we are looking at a bit of a different situation here. This one we have an erosion issue. So I've adjusted this topography. You can see these hills here are quite dramatic, more so than they are in real life. And it's just to show we've got a fair bit of a slope coming down this way. And what's happening is they've got a beach down here. And all of this water here gets directed down here. It's flowing through the beach and it's taking all their sand out to shore. They keep a big pile of sand here to keep filling it in with their tractor and rakes. So we're going to look at ways to solve this. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to grab my pen here. There we go. And we're going to take a look at what we can do. So right now we have the water starts all up in this whole area here, but if we look, it kind of starts small, and by the time it kind of builds as the rain is falling, and by the time we get down here, we've got a lot of water coming through. So we're going to look at three different solutions. One is an endpoint solution here, because at this point, once the water gets to here, there's no good way to use this water. It just needs to get gone. We're going to look at this point here, which is the last point where we can save it before it gets down into this kind of emergency area. And then we're going to look at up here where we can reduce the amount of water that gets down here, use the water well, and it's also a point where there's a ridge kind of along here, where if this water ends up on the other side of the ridge, it can go that way, or if we can stop this water entirely, then we can put it to good use. So we're going to look at three different solutions up here. One of them is, I'm just going to switch to black here. We've got I'm going to put three lines kind of along here, and assuming those are all perfectly level on contour, what we're going to do is something that's oftentimes overused in permaculture design is swales. For example, here it's a good fit. Here it would be disastrous. This is too steep and it would cause a landslide there, but here it is a great fit for what we're trying to do here. So I'm just going to come down here. I'm going to show you what this looks like. So we've got a hill. I'm going to draw the hill nice and steep just for the sake of illustration. And we're going to scoop some land out of here, and we're going to put it here. And we're going to scoop some land out of here and put it here, and scoop some land out of here and put it here. So those are our three lines that we had put down. Right now what happens without those lines is the water comes and it just keeps on, because it keeps on raining more and more and more. There's a little bit of water at the top, but by the time we get to the bottom, there's a lot. What happens here is, oops, I just accidentally double-clicked here, is that, there we go, the trees get planted on here, they grow roots which stabilize the system, trees grow here, growing some food, and the roots stabilize, trees grow here, and the roots stabilize. And as the rain falls down, it comes over here, it starts to fill this up, and it gets to a certain designated spot. So if I draw this from the front, what that looks like is we have our line across. Oops, I'm going to redraw that one. We have our line across here. We have our trees. Then we have one spot where the water comes, or the top of the edge comes down just a little bit lower so the water can go off right there. Now it could be over here, could be over here, it could be, I could do it both here and here if I wanted to. It gives us options of where to move the water. So as we go to this level spillway, we come down here, we fill this next one up, and then it goes to the level spillway, we come down, we fill this next one up, and then it goes over the level spillway and it comes down, and then we're onto that road. And this water that's in here, what it's going to do is it's actually going to slowly sink down and end up where those roots are. And it's going to water these trees for us. And this is going to capture lots and lots, possibly a couple thousand liters of water inside each one of these. And then what happens is now, instead of having that little bit of water that becomes a lot that's moving quickly, it starts to build up and then it stops, and then it's a trickle, and it starts to build up and it stops, and it's a trickle, and then there's just a little bit of water here at the end. So not nearly as much water making it to the end, and now you have fruit trees that are automatically being watered. So as we come back up here, we've got our water comes down into these three swales, and maybe this one comes down here and this one comes down over here. Now we could continue this over and drop this one down so that water goes off that way. That might be a good option here, but I'm going to assume that we still need all this water to stay here, just because I don't know what infrastructure is on this side, and I don't want to cause more problems over there. So now we've reduced the amount of water that's making it down here. Let's look at this second option. So right now they have a big ditch that comes down something like this, and the water comes down here and it pools. It actually comes off over, not at the corner here, but a little bit up from the corner, and then it goes through and wipes everything out. And this is currently catching all of this water. So what we can do is somewhere around here, let's see, we can run a line across here that catches all of this water and allows it to move over this way and then down. And as we look at that, they have a water slide here, and then there's some space to the left. I don't know if they use that space, but here's an idea of how they could use that space to handle the water. As once the water gets over there, it can end up in a trough. It could be like this. It could be a curved one that runs downhill. All the water goes through it. Oops. And by having the water, my color isn't changing here. There we go. By having the water run through here, and because this is cement or rock or something else really resilient, there's no erosion happening. The water is going to move a lot quicker, so it's going to be moving quick when it hits the water, but it won't be tearing out this beach. So now our water comes down, it goes across here, it goes down this special channel and out. So that's an option. I don't know, again, how they use this space. So if they use it a lot, then maybe something that was, I don't see my drawing again here, but something that was this shape, but that, let me draw it from the angle here. There we go. But that has texture going this way, will allow for a better walking surface when it's dry. And then that would still allow them that access in there. And they are looking at potentially doing I think a gazebo or something up here. So that may be a path that gets used. I'm not sure. The final option is dealing with it once the water gets to here. Now, once it gets to here, there's no real good use for this water. This water is now, there's nowhere to send it. All of this area here is all pretty well sand. So what we're going to look at is a catchment basin here and a pipe that takes it past. So what that might look like is, here's the ground, here's a cement basin with a grate on top, make sure none of the kids are falling in, and then a pipe that takes the water out past the beach. So now with this one, there are a couple things you need to factor in. One is the size of the pipe, the other one is the size of this catch basin. And so this pipe, it's going to want to be a pretty good size. It's going to have, the water's going to flow through here and out here. If the rain is coming down too quickly, this might be at maximum flow, so it might be full, and then the water will start to kind of build up here as the water continues to go out. And then once the rain stops, this water goes down and out. And if there is too much water for this pipe and this basin to handle, you might get some overflow and a little bit of erosion, but you won't get nearly as much as you would have before because you've got this main pipe going through. And if you implement this system as well, this would be not using this middle one to send the water down the side. This is this one or this one. So if we're using this one here and this, you've got a lot less water. Most of it's going down into this pipe and out. A little bit might go out and cause a little bit of erosion, but now you are dealing with it much easier. So those are the three options that I would look at. I would look at combining two of them. This one up here with either this one or this one. This bottom one here involves the most infrastructure. This one here involves a little bit of digging and then some sort of hardscaping down here, which is, again, a fairly extensive project, but a manageable one without any really big equipment needed unless you're pouring concrete or unless you're moving really large rocks to work this space in. And then this one up here, which reduces the amount of water hitting here. It deals with the erosion that's happening up here because neither of these deal with the erosion that has started up here. And then it adds trees, and the trees can be, the size can be dependent on, you know, what your goals are. So that could look like, there we go. So that could be, you know, a bunch of little trees, or you could have something bigger in here as well to provide some shade. So different options. Hopefully one of these works for them, and this is one that I'll be working with them going forward, I think, on this to discuss other options. I look forward to hearing what their experience is, because this topography is fairly complex here, so there might be something that I didn't see that makes one of these not an option. They also have different soil conditions, lots of rock and such. So this is another Eden's Refuge rapid fire design. If you're interested in getting a design done, go to www.edensrefuge.ca/rapid-fire and fill out the form with as much detail as possible, and we'll get you in there. It's a free service. I am looking at adding a premium option of pay a little bit to jump the line, because we are getting a bit of a wait list, and it's taking up a fair bit of my time to get these done. So hopefully this is a great fit for you guys, and have a wonderful day.